Hey, folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole. The statements in the following broadcast are not necessarily the opinions of the Madness Comic Network, its staff, sponsors, or contributors. This show is rated TVMA, as are all of them and all those other letters. Viewer discretion is highly advised, and, just do what Doc says. Read that again. Peace, everybody.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
creator of numerous comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Brave but Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now, right this moment, out of all the things we're going to be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
Okay, it's me now. Yay, Goss. Hi, Wayne. Shave. This for you guys. So I love you so much, I shaved. Anyway, enough of that. Things starting out the show. If you like what I do here, easy way to tell me is say something in the comments or buy my book. That gives me feedback to tell me if this is worthwhile doing. Simple as that. If you like what I'm trying to do here, you can say I like it. You can say fuck off and die if you want, or buy a copy of my book. Same thing for Sci-Fi Saturday Night. Same thing. Anyway, enough of that stuff. It needs to be said. People understand what's going on. Today we're talking about Hot Springs, Arkansas. People think the history of Vegas is wild. It surely is wild. Hot Springs, Arkansas makes Vegas look like kindergarten. Absolutely makes it look like kindergarten. History of Hot Springs into the 60s, 70s is wild. And the thing of things have gone slowed down in some degree in Hot Springs. They have, but Little Rock is taking its place. In fact, the history of Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, into the Virginias is wild when it comes to the mafia. I don't mean Italian mafia. I mean organized crime. So when I say mafia in this case, I mean organized crime. It's wild. People don't know enough. I mean, you might have heard about Sheriff Purcell from Walking Tall. The movie is more myth than it is facts, but that guy's life is incredible. It's something like we might talk to about because his life is indeed wild. It's incredible. The history of that area is absolutely crazy. The fact that organized crime got away with, and still might be getting away with today, will make your head spin. Will make your head spin. And people don't know enough of what's going on with him. But let's start off with my hometown. It's my hometown, like his hometown, Hot Springs, Arkansas. If you've never been to Arkansas and have the opportunity to go to Hot Springs. Go to Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's a beautiful location around a beautiful area of the great state of Arkansas. And it's really laid out. They got it well maintained. It's a place you can go with your family and have a nice time. It's a place you can go within an hour drive of Hot Springs. You can go diamond mining. Yeah, they find real life diamonds, and they diamond mine that the state runs. You grab your bucket and they'll give you rent your shell, and you tell you to go take up diamonds. People have found diamonds there. They have. It's just they get that going on. You got Hot Springs. You can bathe in Hot Springs and bed baths if you want to, which came about during the time of the Native Americans. Utilized it, so that the early white settlers, as a place to get healthy. You sit in Hot Springs, you sit in warm baths, and made you feel better. Attack people coming. And did they ever come? That's Hot Springs today. Again, Hot Springs is a great place to go take your family. Again, go diamond mining, walk the trails, visit the national park, visit state parks. There's a lot of cool things to see, a lot of historical exhibits there. It's well worth your time. For the price of Vegas, you probably could take your family of 4 to Hot Springs for a weekend, 3 days, and still walk away with money. Same thing with visiting Arkansas in particular. If you go to Little Rock, another story perhaps another day, that too has a very interesting history, especially when it comes to airplanes, the CIA, cocaine, the Contras, around Contra Affair, and Billy Carter. And I forgot Bill Clinton. All these people have things going on in Little Rock, Arkansas. Again, a unique history of organized crime. And yes, this degree I'll include the CIA and organized crime. Pales in comparison. Absolutely pales in comparison. Anyway, more in Hot Springs. Gambling got started in Hot Springs after the Civil War. The guy showed up, opened a gambling parlor. People did that back in the days after the Civil War. Gambling was not illegal. People showed up in different areas. Kansas City, little Hat Springs, Amarillo, Texas, all the little cowpoke towns, all the little places that were starting to grow up, industry grow up with people on a population basis, because people knew that people like to drink and like to gamble. So we open a gambling hall, have a bordello. You give the people what they want. Same thing in Hat Springs. And one of the early people who started gambling in Hat Springs, I don't know if you can pronounce his name, but I'm going to try. He was a strong arm guy, like Capone was in Chicago. You showed up in Hat Springs, you either didn't open up a gambling parlor, or you paid him off, one of the two. Because if you didn't pay him off, right, or you didn't quit your gambling operation, you would be visited by the police. Because he had paid off both the sheriff's department and the police department to enforce his will. So when other people showed up, opened up a bar, opened up a saloon, opened up a bordello, and they weren't paying him off, you were visited. First of all, to say you really want to pay up, or you want to go away. Second time they showed up, they smash up your place. Right? One gambler in particular didn't do either one. He didn't pay up, he didn't kick up, he didn't leave. He said, "Hell, drive me off." That's exactly what happened. The guy who owned the police department, owned the sheriff's department, drove him away. In fact, drove him away with the point of a gun. Drove him away to point of a gun where he moved to New Orleans. He'll come back in the picture in a few minutes. The guy said he's fat and he's happy, he's still making all this money. Now, there's a local newspaper editor who decides to do what newspaper editors did back in the day, which is say, illustrate what's going on. I get the weirdest messages coming through here. Illustrate what's going on, what should be done, vote the bum out of office, right? The mayor didn't want to be voted out of office. In fact, he didn't want to be voted out of office because he was one of the biggest crooks working for our gambling czar at the time. He was being paid off. He had his own business going on. He was making more money than the guy. He didn't want to go away. So he openly made statements. If he ever saw the editor walking on the street, he'd shoot him. Okay, people do that. People do say stupid things and get drunk. This is in the 1880s, late 1880s. So it wasn't very much civilized. People ran their mouths. They weren't keyboard warriors, right? They said things in front of other people. Words had meaning. Today you get these death threats. I get death threats all the time. Doing my mafia type stuff. I get used to them. Right? It is what it is. Hell it. You ignore them. At that time, people made threats. They usually backed them up, as the mayor did. So one day, the mayor's walking down the street, minding his own business. On the other side of the street, he's a newspaper editor. The mayor pulls out not one, two pistols, opens fire, wounds the editor, wounds several other bystanders. Had nothing to do with nothing. It's walking down the street, wounds them. Everybody gets treated. Nobody's seriously injured. Nobody dies, thank God, right? But the interesting thing is, you think the people in the community would be upset that you have your mayor of all people having a gun battle with an owner of an illegal gambling establishment. Oh, by the way, he's a crook too. It's been illustrated. Newspaper reporter. I apologize. Newspaper reporter was illustrating how corrupt the mayor is, right? Illustrating all the other people in the city who's corrupt. You think that motivate the public to vote him out of office? Or have the state government come in and say, "Hey, what's going on here? Maybe arrest someone." No. The mayor goes on to hold office for quite some time. In fact, the worst case that happens is he has to pay a small fine for disturbing the peace. Yeah. So you try to shoot someone in cold blood, you wound him, you wound other 100% innocent bystanders. All that happens is you have to pay a fine. Wow. Things even get crazier. Coming to town now, there's another gambler. His claim to fame is he knows the guy that was running the town. He knows what to expect. He acts like he knows what to expect. He openly carries guns. When the people come to drive, when the mayor's, the gambler's kingpin comes to drive him out of town, he fights back. He shoots one. Shoots come over the first incident. Right, but long and behold, like Billy Binion, either shoot him dead or he'll come for you. Like Billy Binion, the gambling czar came for him. He was killed, shot and killed. But he did put up a fight. He said, "No more. I'm not going to put up this shit." But he was shot and killed for his efforts. This continues off and on for years, until a former Confederate officer shows up with some henchmen, all armed, all Army veterans, so they know how to use guns, and they put up quite the fight. They put up quite the fight to your bodies in the street. Not one guy here, not one guy over there, years, months after the fact, they start dying right away. At least 10 people, maybe 15 people died. They're quite not sure the numbers of people killed in this exchange of feud over a period of 2 years, but a number of them are. Now, this is getting no attention from the state government, no attention from the federal government. But then, this is the 1880s, you got huge, you have huge battles with Indians out west. You got San Francisco, which is today, 2024, a liberal hotbed, right? Where the what criminals go. In San Francisco at the same time period, they're taking criminals, mobs of forming, grabbing the criminals out of the jails and hanging them. Vigilante justice was the thing of the times in San Francisco. In Hot Springs and other places in the South, especially, be it Hot Springs or New Orleans, we won't care. We'll clear the way. We don't care. It's trying to chew it because people are making money. We have a poor economy. There's not much left going on. You make some money gambling. You're going to do that thing. And you have to look the other way. Maybe that's what you do because you have to go and. I'm sorry, the message. I apologize. You do what you do, right? But eventually, what will happen is there's a famous gunfight between the mayor and the editor, where this time the editor is shot and killed. In fact, he's shot and killed. They have to kick down his office door to get at him. The guy gets wounded first, then it goes back, closes the door, locks the door, takes refuge. The evil people, the bad guys, kick in his door, right? Kick in his door and shoot him dead. Wow. This creates so much heat because by now the people at Springs are pissed off this is happening. So they go and say, look, you got to go. Bombs start to form. It's smashing up these guys to the Kingpin's place. The police aren't going to protect him anymore. Sheriff's Department's not going to protect him anymore. He leaves. Great. Now things get really weird. Another Kingpin forms, get rid of one guy. Somebody take, be it gambling, be it cartels today, be it whatever. When the king falls, someone else will take his place. So of course, someone else takes his place. It's not a easy transition. Other people want the title. They fight. One group of them now owns the police department, city police department. One group owns, the sheriff's department. Okay, both sides like the money they're making. Both sides want to be the only people inside the city to make the money. So they have a gun battle. The two forces of law enforcement have their own personal gun battle. People get shot, people are dead. Wow. People are shot, people are dead. I forget the total body count of this gunfight. Some people said nobody was killed. Some sources say no one's killed. Other sources say 5 or 6 people died. They're not quite sure because, again, records weren't really kept. If you could be swept under the rug, would be swept under the rug because why not? You want the bad reputation. God knows you don't want the feds to come to town because by now the United States attorneys pretty much calmed down. The federal government has more resources to send to places like Hot Springs, send to places like Chicago, and other places that are starting to do so, right? Yeah, so starting to do so. So they want this thing to quiet down as much as they can. So that can be reported as evidence is kept away. And this is all before the 1920s. Because about 1920s, money comes down. And that really changes things a lot. Because when the money comes down, and 2 very rich men come down from, I believe their source of their revenue came from New Orleans as well. They start doing the things that somebody should have done long ago. They open high-class tourist hotels. They open up high-class tourist hot springs bath centers. They open up high-class whorehouses. They open up high-class diners to attract the people with disposable income to come to hot springs because, oh, looky here, we now have a railroad. So people from Chicago come to Hot Springs. People from New York come to Hot Springs. People from Louisiana come to Hot Springs. This is the place to be. Las Vegas and Kansas is starting up now. Not really. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's hot in the desert. Hot Springs Hot Springs is the hottest time of year because where it lies within the great state of Arkansas. And the hottest days of the summer, it might be 80. In the coolest days of the winter, it might be in the 30s. Snow will happen, but it's a rarity. So if it's January, February, in New York, you're getting at 20 degrees below zero. In Chicago, you get 20 degrees below zero and snow on the ground. Yeah, let's go to Hot Springs and take a vacation. Let's go to Hot Springs and have a good time. Let's go to Hot Springs and gamble. And the people starting to show up in the 20s are organized crime people of Al Capone, of Lucky Lorenzo. You have Meyer Lansky. You have Meyer Lansky's brother. All the people, Bugsy Siegel, all the people are mafia people, both organized crime people and Italian mafia people are going to Hot Springs to take advantage of the baths and take advantage of the touristy, well-built, high-class hotels because they have the money to afford going. The rule is, because a guy who now shows up to Hot Springs is called Os Masson, I believe how his name is pronounced. He is from New York. He's an Irishman. He comes from the bad neighborhoods of the Five Point area of New York City. He ran with the gangs, his own gang for a while. He's shot and wounded at least 4 times in New York. He's told by others in the city of New York, if you want to live, you might want to leave town. And we hear Hot Springs is a really cool place. And by the way, we hear that the postmaster, the U.S. postmaster, has a pretty daughter. You might want to meet him. Now, mind you, postmaster has a great reputation. As everybody involved in the postmaster has a great reputation. And that's a reputation will go to all-time high in a number of years. So he'll go to Hot Springs. He'll marry the postmaster's daughter. They'll start a family, right? And the rule is, you come to Hot Springs, you leave your gun at the door. Come to Hot Springs, you say to somebody that you have a problem with in New York, you have a problem in Chicago, you buy them a drink, you go on your way. Or you play cards with them, you go on your way. There's no violence in Hot Springs. Something that Vegas would pick up too going forward, right? Because you don't want to scare away the tourists, you don't want their needed attention, right? And even though gambling is highly illegal, prostitution is highly illegal, nobody in state government is looking towards it at all. There's sometimes let's call them, as they were at the time, vibrant thumpers, trying to get law and order into Hot Springs, but money talks. Money talks. And so people kind of sort of listen to them. As long as things were too crazy, people were left alone. I mean, there's open prostitution, but God forbid if you had girls under the age of consent. There's open prostitution, but heaven forbid if one of the girls claimed that she was there against her will, things did not go well. But other than that, go for it. Same thing in Vegas. As long as you can shoot people openly, try not to shoot them now, at least in Hot Springs or in Vegas, well, look the other way. So people keep paying. When you go to Hot Springs, look at old pictures of the historic Hot Springs, see the beautiful hotels. Because you can go today, Hot Springs. God, I should be paid for doing that. I've had time at Hot Springs as tourist advisor. But you can go to Hot Springs today, and you can sleep in the room that Al Capone slept in. You can sleep in the room that Bugsy Siegel slept in. You can sleep in the rooms that other gangsters known slept in. You have great museums where the people that run the gambling museum in Hot Springs will tell you the history of the gambling machines, how they work, who ran them, how they made money. And again, there's no government control, so there's no fix, there's no scam per se, right? But making money hand over fist by gambling and making sure when the customer won, they were paid. Making sure if the customer won, they got home safely, got to the train station safely, right? Because they wanted to come back. They wanted them to bring the wife, the kids. They wanted to bring the wife, the kids, the brother-in-law. They wanted to bring or people with them because they knew the more people came to Hot Springs, the more money they would spend, and therefore the more money they would make. And this is before things get crazy, because things are about to go crazy. The nice thing, too, about Hot Springs, it goes crazy and nobody gets killed. As might say in Vegas, some people get killed. I guess some people did get killed in Hot Springs. In and of itself, because sometimes gamblers do stupid things and get killed for it, right? But overall, generally speaking, Hot Springs is a pretty safe place to be. As much as Vegas has a reputation of being a safe place to gamble, so is Hot Springs. And the ending of Hot Springs, why it ended, why the gambling went underground, went away basically, and only recently came back, is a story that we'll be talking about next time, because I just find this stuff absolutely fascinating. If I had the resources that I don't have right now, it is a really good book. It's a couple of good books. And Gambling and Hat Springs, which I highly recommend. You can Google Hat Springs and gambling and see some more interesting history of it, especially when you get talking about the 30s and 40s. What happened to Lucky Lorenzo, right? What happened to him? How he got sent to New York to go to jail, right? How gambling ended, right? It was fascinating. What happened to some of the spots that were the gambling places? Why crime center went from Hat Springs to Little Rock, and what that started to look like. It's crazy. And this is just a sample of the craziness that evolves in some of these gambling towns, and why Hat Springs also helped Vegas become popular. Hat Springs, as well as the Ohio River Valley, gave training to the people who go to Vegas to run the mafia fronted, or tell us other people fronted for the mafia, right? That's a whole crazy story. If you want to talk about on-the-job training, that's some of the most fascinating stuff in the world. I find this stuff really fascinating, because we could argue that gambling is a victimless crime. I can do that argument. I can also do the flip side and say that no, gambling is absolutely a horrible crime to do because it ruins lives, which it does, right? You can talk both sides. You can. But it's just so fascinating history. So I want to do one more on this one, because I think the 60s and how it all ended with the history was gone in the 20s and 30s. What's in the first criminal acts of the FBI? Yeah, FBI back in the 30s, crooks. Like, who knew, right? It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Yeah, thank you so much, Grey Wolf. And they're interesting people too. And we could talk Minneapolis too. God, thank you very much, Grey Wolf, because we could definitely thank you. We could definitely talk Minneapolis. If you want crime, and corruption and wholesale slaughter, we can talk Minneapolis. We can talk
Minneapolis. That's where I was born. That's where I was born. I was going to say maybe you should have Grey Wolf on sometime. You guys can talk about it.
Open invitation, Grey Wolf. Let me know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm out.
Open invitation to Grey Wolf. And I think if Paps can put I'll put my Twitter up here. I'll put my email. I'm going to start my email better.
What you want? What?
My email. But I'll put up.
Okay.
If you want to email me, we can set something up, because I do have other shows. I do these shows 6 or 7 days a week now. I'm starting to, at least. Because I got to put my book. And the only way people can go and buy my book is if they know they exist. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Perhaps appreciate all that. Anyway, history is remarkable. Yes, Hat Springs fascinates me. Minneapolis fascinates me. To think that John Dillinger, right, had a gunfight 6 hours away from me upstairs, 6 hours away from me up north in Wisconsin. John Dillinger came to Wisconsin, had a gunfight after he went to their Scene Bank and robbed it. Went up there, but then he went to Minnesota, right? And the way he went from Minnesota to Chicago is crazy. The creepy Kindness gang is crazy. The links between Kindness and Mason is wild. Charles Manson is wild. I mean, the craziness, absolute crazy facts of crime in the state of Wisconsin, some of the towns that nobody hears about anymore. No, it doesn't surprise me that I'm sorry, I'll spoil the episode I talk about Minnesota much now. But needless to say, if you think Vegas is crazy, I hope I can convince you to read about Little Rock and Hot Springs and Arkansas and Mississippi and the rest in what they call the Cornbread Mafia and the Dixon Mafia. It's crazy. Wait until you hit northern Michigan. Wait until you hit northern Wisconsin. And I have a family story about northern Wisconsin that will blow your mind. I do indeed. Something I only learned about recently around the time of my mother's death. Anyway, that's all the time I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out my book. Get a copy, please. Grey Wolf, please send me an email. Looking forward to it. With that, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.
already.
Glamorized and embraced by Hollywood, feared in the underworld, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was one of the most powerful men in America. He was also one of the most hated. The man who gave birth to Las Vegas was gunned down in the luxurious home of his glamorous lover. Almost 80 years later, his murder remains unsolved. Who killed Bugsy?
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz
how to drive.
hands. Jazz hands. And
All right.